Hello everyone, this is Dr. Achal and I welcome you all in our subject module entitled as Services Marketing. In our previous discourse, we have learnt with the positioning of the services. That was also very important because we know that services, they are the intangible experiences and the offerings that are being offered by the service provider to the end users or to the target audience. So, in today's discussion, we will be dealing with a fresh topic, and the topic itself, it is being related within a topic of service pricing, that is how to price on the services, how to establish the prices for the offerings that is being manufactured, that is being offered by the service provider to the end customers or to the consumers. Now, before moving for the concept, we know that it is very imperative for every service provider, for every entity to know or to establish certain kind of justification before setting out the prices or the value that the customers has to pay in lieu of the services or in lieu of the benefits or the deeds or the associations that they are trying to enjoy from the service provider. So, fixation and determination of the value of the products or the offerings which the service provider are trying to offer in the market area, it is very sensitive element because it is the only element which is in the hand of the marketers and are having a capability to generate revenue. Rest of the other piece like the product, place, promotion, the involvement of the people, the whole sequential steps which is being talked of as in a process, and the involvement of the physical evidence, the infrastructural facilities for accentuating out the service delivery process, all these P, that is product, place, promotion, people, process and physical evidence, they do involve certain kind of expenditure to talk of. But the only element which is in the hand of the marketers, that is the pricing element, is in the hand of the marketers which are generating revenue. So, many times we can say that it is a very sensitive element because if we are like we have established a price which is very much being escalated enough as compared to the prices that are prevailing in the market area, definitely with the due passage of time will be thrown out of the market area. So, in today's challenging environment, we can say that the customers and the consumers, they are now becoming more aware, they are now becoming more price sensitive as compared to the olden days, because in the yesteryears we were experiencing that the consumers and the customers, they were not having any kind of option to go in for. Whatever offerings, whatever goods that was being produced by the marketers, by the manufacturers and that was being given to them, they were not having an alternative options, and that is why they were going in for the purchase decision. But nowadays we are evolving, we are transforming, the consumers are becoming more aware in terms of the purchase decision, how to make an effective purchase decision in view of their limited resources at their disposal. They are more being sensitive enough towards the price factor. So, here the consumers and the customers, they are becoming more price sensitive. Hence, it is very imperative duty for any organization, for any service provider to look in for establishment of the prices or the value of the product which is being talked of as in a prices that is to be charged, that is to be given by the customers to the service providers in lieu of the services or the offerings that they are trying to consume or they are trying to go in for the purchase of those products. So, that is to be done in a very meticulous and a very judicious kind of way. So, in our just moving out with a further discussion in the slides, it is being given here. The slide says that what is the concept of pricing. Firstly, we have to just understand the concept of the price and the pricing. We know that there can be different kind of forms of the prices, like for the payment of the premises, land and building, we are paying out the rent. Similarly, it is in a price that is being talked of for the for using the land and the building premises or the premises for any of the use, either for the use of the personal way or either for the use of the business use, we are paying out the rent. Similarly, for the using out the services of the electricity, we are paying out the electrical bills. Similarly, freight charges are also being borne by us because of the transportation facility that we are trying to get into. So, it means that we are paying a different kind of forms of the prices are being paid by us as in a consumer, as in a manufacturer at different point of time, and their nomenclatures are being changed. So, we have to understand that what is the value, what is the concept of the price that is all being associated with. Now, this particular slide says that The price refers to the amount paid for a good, service or an idea, essentially representing the exchange value between the product and the potential consumers. Determining the right price is crucial business decisions for owners, as it must align with what the target market is willing to pay, while also ensuring an adequate margin to meet the business goals. Now, this particular notion, that is pricing being defined as, or the prices being defined as an amount that is being paid by the target audience, by the consumers, by the customers in lieu of the goods and the services that they are going in for the purchase process. Many times we are using out the word offering because it refers to a combination of the goods and the services. So, whatever value as a consumer, as a customer we are paying in for to the business organization, that represents the value, because that represents the prices, because in lieu of those value that we are trying to cherish upon, that we are trying to enjoy upon, the utilities that we are deriving with the purchase and the consumption of the offerings, we have to pay certain kind of amount of the monetary consideration, and that monetary consideration, that quantification of the value in terms of the monetary way is what is being talked of as a price. So, here we are saying that it represents exchange value between the producer of the product and the potential customers. Definitely, we know that every business transaction, it involves two of the parties, that is the party, one of the party being talked of as a manufacturer, being talked of as a producer or a service provider. Here we are many times we are using out the word service provider, because our discussion is basically being based on the services aspect. So, the offerings that is being given, that is being disposed by the service provider, they are basically intangible, they are perishable and not being inventoried. So, here the producers has to be very much being sensitive enough towards the crafting and towards the establishment of the value of their offerings in a very proper and a meticulous way. They should be, because it is a very crucial decision to go in for, and that is what is being written in the slide, because for every transaction there should be a presence of two of the parties, that is the producer and the customer. We are being aware of. Here the producers who are giving out their offerings and who are trying to establish the value of their offerings in terms of the prices that has to be borne by the customers or the consumers. So, that is a very meticulous task to go in for. Also, we are seeing that before establishment or before determining the prices of the commodities, we have to just make sure that different kind of cost, different kind of outlays that has to be incurred, and that is being incurred by any producer, by any manufacturer, by any service provider, that has to be recouped upon. Now, that may be done like if you are very much being proactive enough towards determination of the fixed cost, towards determination of the variable cost. Semi-variable cost is also being incurred, because we know that the fixed costs are such a cost or outlays that is basically being borne by the manufacturers, the producers, irrespective of the level of the production. We have to just bear it out. As we have already discussed the fact that suppose you have taken out the land and premises for delivering out your services, or like setting up an establishment for delivering out your services, then in lieu of those rights or possession of the right of the land and the building that you have acquired for, you have to pay out the rent factor to them. Similarly, you have to pay out the wages. Even if the deliverance is not being done to the people, have to pay, I mean you have to deploy out the people and the manpower in your establishment, and the people have to be given out with the appropriate amount of, adequate amount of the salaries and the wages being defined differently as compared to the nature of the job that they are trying to perform in your establishment. So, it means that now these kind of costs, that is the payment of the wages or the salaries or the rent, they are the costs which are fixed in nature. I mean even if the production, even if you are not you are not being able enough to offer out your services to your chosen target segment or to your market area, even if that is not happening, but even then you have to bear out these kind of costs. So, it means that these are the fixed nature of the cost you have to take into consideration. Similarly, there are certain kind of costs which are variable in nature depending upon the level of production, they vary, and there are certain kind of classification of the cost which are semi-variable in nature, like depreciation, like the freight charges. So, here the service provider and the producer, they have to ensure that the fixed cost, the variable cost, the semi-variable cost has to be recovered with the establishment of the suitable kind of pricing strategy. and then to a certain markup should be added. There should be a profitable gains, because each and every activity of our organization, of our entity, they are being revolving towards reaping out the profitable gains. So that has to be taken into account by every firm or every service provider, that the setting of the pricing strategy should be in alignment with the objectives that they want to fulfill upon. And we know that there can be different kind of objectives, like there can be an objective of survival, there can be an objective of target rate of return, and we have already discussed the fact that within the parameters of the vision and the mission, we are trying to establish out of our corporate objectives. So as an effective marketer, we have to just ensure that before moving in for the establishment of the prices, those objectives, those corporate goals has to be taken into account, and then we have to just formulate that our different kind of pricing strategies and the procedural framework should be in consonance with the meeting out the goals and the objectives of the corporate nature. So this is also being said in the slide that it must align with the target market, which is willing enough to pay, and also ensuring adequate profit margin to meet out the business goals. That is what we have said, that every business transaction, every business entity, they do involve and their objective is to just reap out certain kind of profitable gains. And at the same point of time, there should be an alignment with meeting out the expectations and the needs of the target audience, because as we have said that the people nowadays, the individuals, the consumers and the customers, they are becoming more price sensitive. Before moving in for the purchase process, we are having an alternative set of brands to go in for. Even if for the same set of brand, we are having different kind of sub variants to go in for, and as in a price sensitive and a rational and a logical customer or the consumer, we will be trying to evaluate and analyze each and every pros and cons before moving in for the final purchase process. So this is in a way, as we have already said, that the buying process or the purchase process, it involves a different set of the decisional areas, like firstly we have to make them aware, there should be a need recognition on the part of the buyers, on the part of the consumer. Similarly, after that, they are going in for the information search, gathering on different kind of information from different sources, maybe from the internal one. Apart from the internal one, they are trying to take the backup from the external one. And after that, the third one, that is an alternative course of action or evaluation of the alternative. So this is in a step wherein we are saying that the customers and the consumers, they are having a different alternative set of options to move in for and to choose in for the best, depending upon the want satisfying angle of the different kind of products that they are available with them, and which are the products that have a capability or the potential to satisfy out their wants. So there are different kind of alternative sets of products or the alternative sets of variants of the same brand, and depending upon the feasibility and accessibility, the customer may move in for the choosing a particular set of brand. Now evaluation of alternatives, after evaluation of alternatives, they move in for the purchase process, and lastly is in a post purchase behavior. So we are saying that this should be in alignment with the meeting of the expectations and the assessments of the customer or the target audience. Your pricing objective should be towards meeting out the needs and the expectations of your target audience. Now further it is being written that several factors are to be considered while setting the prices, including the cost accountability, the level of the competition, the customer's expectation. Definitely there can be different kind of factors to move in for. There can be different kind of factors to take into account. Now regarding the factors, we can have a broader classification of the factors or the variables which are affecting the establishment of the pricing decisions for your establishment. There may be factors which are internal in way, there can be factors which are external in way. So internal factors are those which are within the control of your organization. You are trying to modify it, you are able to improvise it, you are able to amend it depending upon your suitability. And definitely the external one, as the name is suggesting, with the fact that these are the variables over whom you are not having any kind of control, but however they are influencing out your purchase decision, they are influencing out your decision to set and establish out the prices of your product. So as is being written here in the slide, that the several factors which are to be considered by establishing or by setting out the prices, they are hovering around towards the cost element, towards the competition element, and towards the customer's expectation. Now cost element is very much we have discussed out the fact that cost, which is in the form of the fixed one or the fixed one or the variable one or the semi-variable one has to be taken into account, because these are the costs that has to be incurred irrespective of the level of the production. The fixed cost has to be incurred. Similarly, the variable cost, it is being borne by the manufacturer or the producer depending upon the level of the production that is being incurred, that is being done by them. And semi-variable, of course, it falls between two of the categories, that is fixed and the variable one. So the cost element very important, because we don't have to just phase out the losing position. We don't have to just go in for the negative returns. So that should not be done. But initially, when any kind of new offering is being launched in the market area, it may so happen that you are not able to recoup out the cost even at certain point of time. But as an effective and an agile marketer, you have to just ensure that definitely the fixed cost has to be incurred, and at a certain portion of time the variable cost should be incurred. You should be able to recoup it in your transaction process. Now the second factor, that is level of the competition, it speaks of the fact that here, as a proactive service provider, as a marketer, you have to be at par with your competitors. There are certain kind of competitors who are in direct, they are giving you a direct challenge because they are being engaged in the same line of business area. There may be certain kind of parties or the entities who are giving you an indirect kind of challenge. So taking into account both these aspects, both these situations, you as a versatile and effective marketer, you have to just bear into mind that what is the quantum and the risk of magnitude of the risk that is prevailing in the market area in the form of the competition. So this is very much being needed enough. This is very much being an important factor to analyze, to reduce the magnitude and the quantum of the risk which is prevailing in the competitive scenario in the form of the competition. So you have to be at par with the competitors. At a certain point of time, the prices may be slightly, you may establish the prices of your product slightly above the competitors, but not at an escalated one. The escalation should not be done, because many a times we have said that the prices, the customers and the consumers, they are price sensitive. They make certain kind of logical deductions. They go in for the logical deductions also. They are using out their rationality, because there are certain products which are being derived, their purchase process, their consumption process is being triggered by the emotional motives. But what to say about those products which involve the cost element, which involves a huge amount of the capital in the form of the cost. So it means that, like we can take an example, like suppose you have gone in for the purchase of the physical commodity which involves a huge amount of cost, and that is in a durable product. Definitely you will move in for the product reviews, you will be trying to evaluate its different pros and cons, and then you will be finally making out your mindset to go in for the final purchase process. So that is in the adoption process. That is, the purchase decision is an adoption process, it is not in a trial one. In case of services also, as we are personalizing, as we are customizing, we are not standardizing the things, and we are not standardizing out the services to the target audience. So here also we have to just ensure that particularly the customers and the consumers may have a feel of, or may suffer out a feeling of delightment, enjoyment after the purchase and the consumption of the personalized and the customized service. Level of competition also says the fact that here we don't have to just escalate, because as earlier also we have said that escalation only speaks of the fact that over the period of time, gradually with the passage of time, we will be out of the market area, because customers are making out their logical deductions. They will be going in for the alternative set of options, and they will be evaluating the best qualitative product at the reasonable prices. So that should be borne by the service providers, that their establishment and the fixation of the prices for their offerings should be like slightly above or slightly like below with the competition level that is prevailing in the market area. And definitely the last factor which is all being talked of as playing the role of the customer as in a kingpin. We are treating the customer and the consumer as in a kingpin, and here all our efforts as a marketer are being associated, they are being revolved towards meeting out the needs and expectations of the customers, of the consumers. So their expectations in terms of buying out in terms of purchasing and consuming a qualitative product, a qualitative offering at a reasonable prices has to be justified by you as a qualitative, as a very efficient marketer, as an efficient service provider. So, expectations of the customers has to be met, because these kind of these kind of associations with the customers, with the consumers will be helping you out to build a credible relations for the years to come, and that will be definitely helping you out to build a loyalty. The customers will be building a loyalty with regard to the brand, with regard to the product, with regard to the offering that you are trying to dispose of in the market area, and eventually with the passage of time that will be helping them out to develop out a learning habit. And the learned habit, if they have enjoyed the consumption of the offerings from your brand, definitely that delightment will lead towards a strong building up in a strong brand loyalty for your offerings, and that will lead towards building up in a repetitive purchase decision in the years to come. And in addition to it, the repetitive purchase decision, apart from it, we can say that these kind of delighted and fulfilled customers or the consumers, they will be acting as a propagational tool towards propagating the positive response for your offerings to others also, and the other people who are there in the market area, who may be turning us into potential consumers for you, as a potential customers for you, because these are the individuals who are not using out your product at a particular point of time. It may so happen that they are consuming an alternative brand which is there available in the market area. It may so happen that these responses and the feedbacks that are being given by the delighted customers, by the loyal customers of your offering, they will be turning at us in a catalytic agent towards transforming the buying behavior and the purchase behavior of the potential customers to be turned out or to be set out as a present customer. So, that has to be borne by the service provider. Moving to the next slide. Now, this slide also says the same fact that here the service pricing is all about being related with establishing the right price is very vital for every business success, serving as a guiding principle for management to drive product sales. Pricing strategies play a significant role in market competition and consumer satisfaction, and they also influence the distribution channels. While price refers to the specific amount charged, pricing encompasses the methods of assigning a monetary value to your product or service, typically expressed in currencies like dollars or rupees. Now, this is in a slide that shows that establishing the right price is very vital, and this is a guiding principle for every management, for every organization. We are saying that the establishment of the price, the determination of the price for the value of the offering that you are disposing of in the market area to your target audience, it's very important, it's very crucial decision to go in for, because we have already said that a business organization or any entity, it is being composed of at least 3 of the levels. We are having top one, we are having a middle one, we are having a lower management levels. Depending upon the feasibility, you may go in for the other bifurcations. We can have an upper top, we can have a lower top, we can have an upper middle, we can have a lower middle. So, that is another case. Now, this is in a broader classification that is being seen in every establishment. We have already discussed about the fact that important decisions and the important policy matters, they are being authorized and they are being taken care of by the top levels of the people holding out the crucial importance in the organization, like CEOs are there, like managing directors are there, general managers are there. So, they are the people who are taking care of the policy formulation, and the mediating role and the execution is being taken care of by the lower levels of management. The middle level of the managers, they are acting as a mediator between the top and the lower, and the middle level of the management, they are having got the different functional areas to talk of in the form of production, marketing, finance and HR, and in turn they may have on the different units, the creation of the different unit sections and other departments depending upon the organizational feasibility that you are holding in your establishment. So, we are saying that here the pricing strategy is playing a very significant role, because for every every organization, they just are transacting out their economic transactions, they are moving for the economic transactions so as to create value. With the procurement of the inputs, they are creating value, and after the creation of the value, they are trying to transform it into a resultant output, and with the whole process they are trying to generate out the surplus gains. So this is an objective that is being followed by every firm, and here the objective should be in consonance with the market condition. The customer should also be satisfied, and definitely the prices which is to be charged and which is to be fixed with your offering should be very much being reasonably justified enough for the distribution channels also. Because we can have a different kind of distribution channel, we can use on a different mode of distribution channel depending upon the nature of the services you are moving for, depending upon the nature of the goods that you are trying to propose in for. So as an effective marketer, you have to just ensure that the pricing strategy that you are trying to define should also be in consonance with the distribution channel, because they are also getting influenced by it. Now, the slide also says about the fact that price refers to the specific amount charged, while the pricing encompasses the methods of assigning the monetary value to a product or a service. We know that now this is the concept that says that price is basically being defined differently in different connotation. Their nomenclatures are being changed, like we have said earlier also that either we are paying out the prices in terms of the rent, or in terms of the fees, in terms of the honorarium, in terms of the in terms of the freight charges. Any kind of nomenclature may be done. It can be associated depending upon the different kind of services, or depending on the different kind of objects or the goods that we are trying to consume in for. So price refers to the specific amount that is being charged by the marketer, by the service provider, by the producer from the consumers in lieu of the uses of those particular offerings. Now, what is all about the pricing? It says that it is a method that assigns the monetary value to a product or a service that is typically expressed in the currencies or like rupees or dollar. The pricing is basically, it is a method of assigning the monetary value. So price is one of the aspect, and pricing is definitely, it is in a process of assigning the value in a quantifiable term, the value of your product, of your offering in a quantifiable manner, in a monetary manner, and that particular manner is being talked of as either the manner of charging you from in terms of the rupee, or in terms of any other value which is prevailing in your home currency. That is being charged by you at your home currency. Now, moving to the next slide, this slide all shows about the types of the pricing methods. What are the types of the pricing methods? We can have a different kind of pricing methods. So the very first, as it is written in the slide, that this says that the cost oriented pricing method, already have said that basically the cost involves three kind of cost. We can have a fixed cost, we can have a variable cost, we can have a semi variable cost, and the cost oriented pricing method, it involves like we have to just ensure that these three kinds of cost has to be recouped before establishment of the price, then only we will be in a profitable gains. Similarly, cost plus pricing says that the manufacturer calculates the production cost and adds a predetermined percentage of the profit. The same way that we have explained, the different kind of cost, the direct indirect cost has to be added upon, and then a certain value, percentage of the value has to be fixed to your cost element, and then the percentage of the profit will be added upon, it will be established upon. Similarly, the next form of the pricing method says that the markup pricing, wherein we have said that a specific percentage is added to the cost of the product to arrive at the final selling price. A specific percentage is added to the cost of the product to arrive at the final selling price. And the next one is a target rate of return pricing. It is established to ensure that the company recoups its investment in production. We know that definitely a substantial amount of cost has to be involved with the initiation, with the establishment, and with the starting of a new business venture. So all these costs has to be recouped, it has to be recovered, and that can be done when you may go in for the adoption of the target rate of return pricing. So this is also yet another method that can be used by the service provider, by the marketer, to move in for the surplus gains. That is, what is the return that they are expecting with the investment that they have made at the initial juncture, and what is the gestation period that they are expecting, and after calculating all these pros and cons, they may go in for the establishment of the fixation of the final price. The next method, that is this is all being related within a market orientation pricing method. We have discussed the cost orientation. Now this is a market oriented pricing method, and this says that prices are determined based on the market trends and research. It consists of 5 sub methods. Either way may have a perceived value pricing, that is the price that is set considering the customer's perspective, factoring in production cost, product quality and advertisement expenses. We know that what the customers are perceiving, that is very much being important enough. Earlier also we have said that the customer's expectations has to be met. So perceived value pricing is one of the method wherein we are taking into account what the customers are expecting from you as a service provider, what is the value that they are very much being willing enough to go in for, to forego in for the utility that they are deriving with the consumption with the purchase of your offering, that has to be borne by the service provider. Similarly, value pricing is also one of the sub element and sub method, that is all being related with the company is offering you high quality products at a lower cost. Here intentionally the company is giving you a high qualitative products at a lower cost, because they are very much being worthy enough, they are very much being they are very much being efficient enough towards knowing out that who are their target and high end customers. So if they are specific enough towards the high end consumers and the customers, definitely they will go in for choosing out this particular sub method, that is value pricing. There is another form, that is going rate pricing. This says that prices are based on the competitors' pricing as a benchmark. Now this is definitely one of the important factor, that is we are surviving this competitive scenario, so we have to be at par with the competitors, not very escalated one. The prices should not be at very escalated one, should not be fixed at an escalated one, should not be like a lower one below the average mark that is prevailing in the market area. So there should be a standard, there should be a benchmark, and that is being given by the competitors' pricing strategy. Moving to the next slide. Now this says that the auction pricing method is there, differential pricing method is there. Now auction pricing, here the products are being sold to the highest bidder, often through online platforms. Auction pricing is common in some of the few of the transactions, like we can say that sealed bid pricing method is there. In the case of the jobbers, in case of the contractors, auction pricing method is prominently being used. Similarly, another form is the differential pricing method, and this says that the prices vary for different customers influenced by the factors such as time, location, target demographic. We can take an example, like suppose if there is a medical emergency, you have to give in for the higher amount of fee to the doctor, because that's a medical emergency to talk of. So differential pricing strategy may be chosen, or it may be talked of with regard to the time, with regard to the cost, with regard to the location which the customers are trying to go in for, and they are ready to go in for. They are very much being ready enough and comfortable enough to go in for the giving out the value of, or trying to take in the value of your offerings in terms by paying out this kind of differential kind of cost. Now that was all about the different types, the concept of the pricing. In today's discussion, we have discussed with the concept of the price and the pricing, what are the different factors that has been influenced and that is being taken care of by the service provider, the marketer. We've also discussed the types, the different important types of the pricing methods. I think that we have understood all these concepts, and in our next discourse we will be dealing with factors that is influencing and what are the important strategies. So till then, stay safe and stay blessed. Thank you all.